Most men don't lose women because they are cold. They lose them because they give too much, too fast, too often, and without limits. This truth is uncomfortable, so people avoid it. But avoidance does not change reality. Every time you over-explain, over-forgive, over-chase, and over-sacrifice, something invisible breaks. Not love. Respect. And once respect is gone, attraction follows it into silence. This is not about blaming women. It is about understanding human nature. Especially the parts no one wants to talk about. In this video, we will confront a brutal paradox. Why the men who try the hardest to please are often the first to be taken for granted. If you've ever wondered why giving more led to receiving less, stay with me. Because what you're about to hear may challenge everything you were taught about love, but it might finally explain what went wrong. Welcome to the Stoic Love Wisdom channel. This is where we share lessons about love, real-life experiences and tips for building strong relationships. In today's video, I will share with you the harsh truth: the more you pamper yourself, the more women will look down on you. These may be things you have never thought of. If you are looking for a deeper understanding of love and how to develop relationships, don't miss this video. Before watching the video, find a quiet space and put on your headphones to feel every word I am about to share. Relax and enjoy this journey with me. Are you ready to start this journey? Let's begin. Part 1: The Brutal Paradox of Attraction. I didn't learn this from books. I learned it from mistakes, expensive ones. Years ago, I believed what most men are taught to believe. If you love her enough, if you give enough, if you sacrifice enough, she will value you. That belief is comforting. It sounds noble. It sounds moral. And it is deadly. Because the brutal truth, the one no one wants to say out loud, is this: the more you overgive, the more you train her to see you as less. Not because women are evil. Not because they are heartless. But because human psychology does not respect what comes without cost. This is the paradox that destroys countless men. They give more, hoping to be loved more. Instead, they are respected less. I've watched good men slowly disappear inside relationships. Their boundaries eroded. Their confidence diluted. Their presence taken for granted. And the worst part? They don't lose the woman all at once. They lose her inch by inch, while still standing right beside her. Stoic philosophy teaches us something uncomfortable but essential. What you tolerate, you teach. What you overgive, you devalue. Why overchasing always backfires? Attraction is not built on pleading. It is built on polarity. When a man becomes endlessly available, endlessly accommodating, endlessly forgiving, he collapses that polarity. He stops being a choice and becomes a utility. Think about this carefully. The job that accepts anyone instantly feels less valuable. The product that's always on sale feels cheap. The person who never says no stops being respected. Relationships follow the same law. When you remove all friction, all uncertainty, all standards, there is no tension left. And without tension, attraction dies. Stoicism is not about coldness. It is about self-command. A Stoic man does not ask, "How can I make her stay?" He asks, "How do I remain a man who is worth choosing, whether she stays or not?" That mindset alone changes everything. The silent test every woman runs. Here is something most men never realize until it's too late. Every woman, consciously or unconsciously, tests a man's self-respect. Not with words. With pressure. She will cancel plans. Push boundaries. Demand emotional labor. Withdraw affection. See how much you bend. This is not cruelty. This is instinct. She is asking one question. Does this man have a spine, or does he orbit me? When you overchase, over-explain, over-apologize, overcompensate, you answer that question for her. And once a woman concludes that a man needs her more than he needs himself, desire begins to rot. Respect cannot coexist with dependency. Why nice isn't the same as strong? Many men confuse Stoic strength with being nice. Nice is reactive. Nice fears loss. Nice negotiates its dignity for approval. Stoic strength is calm, grounded, and self-contained. A Stoic man gives affection, not desperation. Offers commitment, not submission. Shares emotion, not emotional collapse. He does not perform love like a servant hoping for crumbs. He chooses love as a sovereign individual. That difference is everything. Women are not attracted to men who sacrifice their identity for love. They are drawn to men who bring a full identity into love. The first law of Stoic love. Here is the first principle you must internalize if you want respect to survive attraction. Never give more than you can give without resentment. The moment your giving comes from fear, from anxiety of loss, it stops being love and becomes negotiation. And negotiation is unattractive. A Stoic man gives because it aligns with his values, not because he's afraid to be abandoned. He understands this brutal truth. Love given freely is powerful. Love given desperately is invisible. What most men get wrong about control. This is not about manipulation. It's about self-mastery. You cannot control how a woman feels. But you can control your boundaries, your standards, your emotional discipline, your availability. And here's the paradox. The more you control yourself, the less you try to control her. And the less you try to control her, the safer, and more intrigued, she feels. Women don't crave a man who clings. They crave a man who stands. A warning before we go further. If what I'm saying makes you uncomfortable, good. Stoicism is not designed to soothe weakness. It is designed to forge clarity. This series will not teach you how to win her back. It will teach you how to never lose yourself again. Because once you lose yourself, no woman, no matter how much you give, will truly see you. In the next part, we'll confront the most dangerous lie men believe. That unconditional giving creates unconditional love. It doesn't. It creates unconditional entitlement. And that is where everything breaks. In love, sometimes we don't need too many promises, but just a little understanding and a heart that knows how to listen. It is the experiences, both happy and sad, that help us mature and know how to love more fully. Here, I want to contemplate those things with you, so that each step in the journey of love becomes more clear-headed and peaceful. If you feel that what I share is valuable, please click like to support this video. And if this is your first visit, please click subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss the next insightful perspectives on love. I also really want to hear from you. What do you like most about today's story? Leave a comment below, because who knows, your experience might be a great source of encouragement for someone else who is listening. And now, let's continue to explore what's waiting for you. Part 2, When Giving Too Much Creates Entitlement. There is a dangerous lie most men are raised with. It sounds noble. It sounds romantic. It sounds like maturity. The lie is this. If I give unconditionally, she will love unconditionally. Reality is far more brutal. Unconditional giving does not create unconditional love. It creates unconditional entitlement. And entitlement is the silent killer of attraction. I've seen it play out dozens of times. Sometimes in my own life, sometimes in men who came to me broken, confused, and humiliated. They all said the same thing. I did everything for her, and she still lost respect. They weren't lying. They were just misunderstanding how humans assign value. Why humans value what has limits. Stoicism teaches us to observe reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. And reality is simple. Anything that has no cost has no weight. If your time is unlimited, it has no urgency. If your attention is guaranteed, it has no excitement. If your forgiveness is automatic, it has no meaning. Women don't consciously sit down and say, "I will disrespect this man because he gives too much." It happens subconsciously. The mind registers patterns. He's always available. He always forgives. He never walks away. He adapts no matter how I behave. And the mind concludes, this man has no threshold. A man without thresholds becomes emotionally cheap, no matter how generous his intentions are. The transaction you don't realize you're making. Here's the part most men never see. When you overgive, you think you are offering love. But psychologically, you are offering a deal. I will lower my standards if you stay. That is not devotion. That is bargaining. And bargaining destroys desire. A Stoic man does not bargain with his dignity. He understands that love is not proven by how much pain you tolerate, but by how clearly you define what you will not accept. Why she stops appreciating you. Appreciation does not come from abundance. It comes from contrast. If you are always kind, kindness becomes invisible. If you are always understanding, understanding becomes expected. If you are always there, presence becomes background noise. This is not a moral judgment. It is psychological mechanics. The brain adapts quickly to constant input. And once adaptation happens, effort is no longer noticed, it is owed. That is entitlement. Not because she is cruel. But because the environment you created trained her nervous system to expect it. The Stoic error men refuse to admit. Most men believe walking away is cruel. Stoicism says the opposite. Staying where you are disrespected is cruelty, to yourself. When you refuse to enforce boundaries, you send a silent message. I will accept less in exchange for proximity. And proximity without respect always turns poisonous. A Stoic man understands that withdrawal is not punishment. It is self-alignment. He does not threaten to leave. He simply becomes unavailable to dynamics that corrode his character. Why neediness masquerades as loyalty? Here's the harsh truth I wish someone had told me earlier. Many men are not loyal. They are afraid. Afraid to be alone. Afraid to start over. Afraid no one else will want them. So they call it commitment. But women can feel the difference. Loyalty feels calm. Neediness feels heavy. A man who stays because he chooses to is attractive. A man who stays because he's scared is exhausting. Stoicism demands brutal honesty with the self. Ask yourself. If she walked away tomorrow, would I still respect the man I've been in this relationship? If the answer is no, the problem is not her. The emotional economy of relationships. Every relationship runs on an invisible economy. Respect is the currency. Boundaries are the regulation. Self-control is the central bank. When you flood the system with unlimited giving, you create inflation. And inflation destroys value. The Stoic solution is not withholding love. It is disciplining love. Giving slowly. Giving consciously. Giving without self-erasure. The moment everything changes. The moment a woman realizes. He will leave if this crosses his values. Something shifts. Not fear. Not anxiety. Safety. Because a man who can walk away from disrespect can also walk toward commitment without losing himself. Stoic love is not desperate. It is deliberate. A truth that separates boys from men. Here is the truth most men avoid because it requires courage. If giving more doesn't increase respect, the answer is not giving even more. The answer is stepping back. Reclaiming your center. Re-establishing your standards. Love does not grow where self-respect dies. In the next part, we'll talk about something even more uncomfortable. Why emotional overexposure, confusing vulnerability with emotional dumping, destroys attraction faster than silence ever could. Because not all openness is strength. And not all honesty is masculine. Part 3, Why emotional overgiving kills desire. There is a mistake modern men are encouraged to make, and praised for making. They are told. Open up. Be vulnerable. Share everything you feel. It sounds healthy. It sounds evolved. It sounds emotionally intelligent. And when misunderstood, it is fatal to attraction. Because there is a difference between vulnerability and emotional dumping. Stoicism never taught men to be emotionally shut down. It taught men to be emotionally governed. And most men today have lost that distinction. Why emotional exposure is not the same as emotional strength. A Stoic man does not hide his emotions. He masters them. When a man constantly vents his fears, insecurities, doubts, and anxieties onto a woman, he believes he is building intimacy. What he is actually doing is transferring his emotional weight onto her nervous system. Attraction does not grow under weight. It suffocates. Women do not want to be your therapist. They want to feel safe in your presence. And safety does not come from emotional collapse. It comes from emotional containment. The false promise of radical honesty. Here is the lie men swallow whole. If I show her all of me, she will feel closer. In reality, the subconscious question a woman asks is, can this man regulate himself, or do I have to regulate him? The moment she feels responsible for your emotional stability, polarity disappears. She stops feeling like a woman. She starts feeling like a caretaker. And desire does not survive caretaking. Why complaining destroys masculine presence. One of the fastest ways men lose attraction is through habitual complaining. About work. About life. About stress. About people. About her. Complaining signals one thing. Powerlessness. A Stoic man understands. Life is difficult. People are flawed. Pain is inevitable. He does not deny hardship. He simply refuses to bleed it onto others without purpose. He processes adversity internally, acts externally, and speaks selectively. Silence, when chosen consciously, is not emotional repression. It is emotional discipline. The feminine nervous system needs containment. This is not ideology. This is biology. A woman's attraction is deeply connected to how she feels in a man's presence. Does her nervous system relax? Or does it brace? When a man overshares his fears, jealousy, neediness, or existential confusion, her nervous system registers instability. She may empathize. She may comfort. She may even say she appreciates your openness. But attraction operates below words. And below words, instability repels. What Stoic vulnerability actually looks like. Stoic vulnerability is not a flood. It is a measured release. A Stoic man shares lessons, not raw wounds. Expresses emotions after he has processed them. Speaks from clarity, not confusion. Reveals depth, not dependency. He does not say, I'm lost and I don't know who I am without you. He says, I've faced loss before. I learned how to stand through it. Same honesty. Completely different impact. Why mystery is not manipulation. Modern culture shames mystery. Calls it emotional unavailability. Stoicism calls it self-possession. A man does not owe full access to his inner world simply because he feels something. Depth revealed slowly creates gravity. Depth dumped all at once creates overwhelm. A woman does not fall for a man because she knows everything about him. She falls because she senses there is more beneath the surface. Mystery is not silence. It is unfinished understanding. The cost of making her your emotional anchor. Here is a brutal truth. The moment you make a woman your primary emotional anchor, you invert polarity. She becomes the center. You become the orbit. And orbiting men are not respected. They are consumed. A Stoic man anchors himself through purpose, discipline, routine, brotherhood, solitude. A woman joins his world. She does not replace it. Strength is felt, not explained. The most attractive men rarely explain their strength. It is felt in their calm during conflict, their grounded silence, their refusal to chase reassurance, their ability to walk away without drama. Stoicism teaches: do not tell people how strong you are. Let your behavior make it undeniable. The line most men cross without realizing. The line is simple. The moment your emotional sharing is designed to get something back, comfort, reassurance, validation, you've crossed from vulnerability into neediness. Neediness kills desire. Not because it's immoral, but because it signals lack of self-sufficiency. The Stoic standard. Here is the standard Stoic men live by. I share because it is true and aligned with my values, not because I need relief. That one distinction changes everything. In the next part, we will confront the hardest truth of all. Why walking away, without anger, without explanation, without theatrics, is sometimes the most powerful expression of love and self-respect a man can make. Because not all endings are failures. Some are corrections. There are things in love, only when we take a step back, sit down quietly, can we truly understand. I share these stories not to teach you how to love, but so that you can find the answers for yourself. If what you just heard touches your heart, please click like as a way to spread this positive energy to more people. And remember to click subscribe, because there are many profound perspectives on love waiting for you in the next videos. Now, let's continue the remaining journey together, because the most precious things are sometimes at the end. Part 4. Why walking away calmly is the ultimate power move. Most men think walking away means losing. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Walking away calmly is not weakness. It is the final proof of self-mastery. I learned this lesson late, after arguing, explaining, begging, negotiating, and slowly eroding my own dignity in the process. Men don't lose women when they walk away. They lose women when they stay too long where respect has already died. Why explaining yourself is a trap. When a man senses he's losing her respect, his instinct is to talk more. He explains. He defends. He justifies. He clarifies intentions. He tries to be understood. But attraction is not restored through explanation. Every explanation after disrespect is perceived as self-defense. And self-defense signals weakness. A Stoic man understands. If someone needs a long explanation to respect you, they were never aligned with you to begin with. Silence, when chosen deliberately, carries more weight than 1,000 emotional arguments. The difference between leaving and escaping. Most men don't walk away. They escape, angrily, dramatically, with ultimatums and emotional explosions. That is not power. That is loss of control. Stoic withdrawal is different. It is quiet. It is composed. It is final. No accusations. No threats. No speeches. Just alignment. This no longer matches my values. And then action. That calmness unsettles more than rage ever could. Why calm departure triggers respect. Here is something uncomfortable but true. A woman expects anger. She expects jealousy. She expects pleading. What she does not expect is a man who leaves without emotional chaos. That behavior signals emotional independence, internal stability, self-respect, options. Even if the relationship ends permanently, the respect remains. And respect is the only soil where attraction could ever regrow. Stoicism is not about punishment. Walking away is not punishment. It is not manipulation. It is not a tactic to make her miss you. That mindset is still attachment. Stoicism is about self-alignment, not outcome control. A Stoic man does not ask, "How do I make her regret this?" He asks, "How do I remain in integrity with myself?" Ironically, when you stop trying to provoke emotion, you often provoke the deepest reflection. Why staying teaches her how to treat you. Every time you stay after disrespect, you teach a lesson. You teach what you will tolerate. What has no consequence. How low your threshold really is. Women don't need speeches to learn this. They learn through repetition. A Stoic man understands. Boundaries without consequences are just preferences. And preferences are negotiable. Boundaries are not. The fear that keeps men trapped. Most men don't stay because they love. They stay because they fear. Fear of loneliness. Fear of replacement. Fear of starting over. Fear of admitting failure. Stoicism does not remove fear. It teaches you not to obey it. A man who cannot leave what disrespects him will never be respected anywhere else, by her or by himself. Why closure is overrated. Modern culture obsesses over closure. But closure is often just another attempt to be validated. Stoic truth. You don't need agreement to leave. You don't need understanding to move on. You don't need permission to protect your dignity. Closure comes from decision, not conversation. The power of non-reactivity. Non-reactivity is terrifying to people who rely on emotional leverage. When you don't react, there is nothing to push against. Nothing to manipulate. Nothing to feed on. You remove the emotional reward. And behavior that receives no reward eventually stops. This is not strategy. This is psychological law. Walking away clarifies everything. When you walk away calmly, two outcomes occur. She reflects. Because confusion forces introspection. You recover yourself. Because self-respect returns the moment you choose alignment over attachment. Either outcome is a win. The Stoic litmus test. Before you stay, ask yourself this. If nothing changed, no apologies, no effort, no growth, would I still respect myself for staying? If the answer is no, the decision is already made. Courage is simply acting on it. Why this is the hardest part. Anyone can give. Anyone can chase. Anyone can endure. Few men can leave peacefully. Because peaceful departure requires emotional discipline, self-worth, acceptance of loss, trust in oneself. This is where boys become men. In the final part, we will tie everything together. Why Stoic love is not about winning women, but about becoming the kind of man who never has to beg for respect again. Because the ultimate attraction is not charm. It is unshakable self-possession. Part 5, the man who needs nothing is the man who is chosen. There is a truth that takes most men a lifetime to understand, if they ever do. The man who is chosen is not the man who gives the most. He is the man who needs the least. This does not mean he is cold. It does not mean he is detached. It means his identity does not depend on being desired. And that changes everything. Why need is the root of disrespect. Need distorts behavior. When a man needs validation, he over-explains. When he needs affection, he overgives. When he needs reassurance, he tolerates disrespect. When he needs a woman to stay, he abandons himself. Women feel this instantly, not intellectually, but emotionally. Need creates pressure. Pressure destroys attraction. Stoicism does not remove desire. It removes dependence. A Stoic man wants, but does not cling. He enjoys, but does not attach his worth to the outcome. The quiet confidence women can't ignore. True confidence is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not demand recognition. It is quiet. Grounded. Unreactive. A man who needs nothing does not rush. He does not compete. He does not chase closure. He does not fear loss. And because he is not driven by fear, his presence feels rare. Scarcity is not created by tactics. It is created by self-sufficiency. Why women test the strongest men the most. Here's a paradox few talk about. The more centered a man is, the more he is tested. Why? Because strength invites verification. A woman may unconsciously push. Delay replies. Challenge boundaries. Create emotional friction. Not to break him, but to see if his center holds. A needy man collapses under tests. A Stoic man remains unchanged. And that stability becomes irresistible. Love without attachment is not indifference. This is where many misunderstand Stoicism. They think detachment means apathy. It doesn't. Stoic love is deep but unentangled. A Stoic man loves fully. But he knows. Nothing external completes him. So he does not grasp. He does not control. He does not beg reality to behave differently. That freedom is felt. And freedom is magnetic. Why chasing is always self-betrayal. Every time you chase someone who is pulling away, you send one message. I value you more than I value myself. That message is absorbed immediately. A Stoic man does not chase alignment. He allows misalignment to reveal itself, and then he exits. Gracefully. Silently. Without resentment. Because resentment is just delayed need. The final Stoic shift. The shift is subtle, but permanent. You stop asking, how do I keep her? And you start asking, how do I live in a way that I respect, whether she stays or not? At that point, love becomes a choice. Loss becomes survivable. Attraction becomes a byproduct. Peace becomes non-negotiable. This is not strategy. This is identity. Why this way of loving is rare. Most men are never taught this. They are taught to perform. To prove. To endure. To sacrifice endlessly. Stoicism teaches something more difficult. To stand alone without bitterness. To love without possession. To give without depletion. To walk away without anger. To remain open without being hollowed out. That balance is rare. And rarity attracts. The final law of Stoic love. Remember this, not as a rule, but as a compass. The more complete you are alone, the less anyone can afford to take you for granted. When you stop chasing respect, it either arrives or reveals it was never there. Both outcomes are clarity. A closing word from experience. I've lost women by becoming too available. I've lost women by staying too long. I've lost women by explaining myself into exhaustion. But I've never lost myself since learning this. And that is the only victory that lasts. Because the man who needs nothing can offer everything, without ever begging to be chosen. Conclusion. The harsh truth is this. Women do not lose respect for men because those men love deeply. They lose respect because those men abandon themselves in the process. Overgiving is not love. It is fear disguised as devotion. When a man gives without limits, tolerates without standards, and stays without dignity, he does not prove commitment, he signals emotional dependence. And dependence is never respected. Stoic love teaches a different path. Love is not measured by how much you sacrifice, but by how firmly you remain rooted in who you are. Respect is not created by pleasing, it is created by self-possession. A man who values himself does not need to demand respect. His boundaries speak for him. His calm speaks for him. His willingness to walk away speaks loudest of all. This does not make him cold. It makes him free. And freedom is what allows love to exist without fear, without bargaining, and without self-erasure. The paradox is unavoidable. The moment you stop trying to be chosen at all costs, you become choosable. Not because you withdraw affection, but because you withdraw need. In Stoic love, the goal is not to hold on tighter. It is to stand so firmly in your own ground that nothing can pull you out of yourself. Because the man who does not lose himself in love is the only man who can ever be truly respected within it. And respect, always, comes before desire. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. I hope you have found useful lessons about love and relationships. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. I really appreciate your support and will continue to bring valuable content in the next videos. Please continue to accompany me on my journey to learn about love and relationships. See you again and wish you happiness.